Several decades ago, I had a chance meeting at a urinal with the original Scotch blogger.
Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon, and today I'm joined by Bill Ricker. And Bill, you've been kind of my Scotch guru, whispering things about the bottles into my ear on Facebook Messenger, which I greatly appreciate. How do you know so much about Scotch?
Well, several decades ago, I had a chance meeting at a urinal with the original Scotch blogger before the ARPANET turned into the internet or Sir Tim added the web.
The dawn of internet time.
He was logging his Scotch explorations by email.
Oh my goodness.
And your tax dollars at work on the way back from NATO software conferences, he'd stop in Aviemore to visit the library in Scotland to taste whatever was on tap.
All right. Well, you reached out to me in my reveal video about Bell's Extra Special, my beautiful little bell-shaped bottle. So you reached out to me to mention that you had a very similar vintage bottle. So I think this is late 70s probably, and you think yours is from around the same time. So how did you come by this bottle?
We have a secret tasting group that meets at various conventions that's sort of run on the stone soup system.
Yes.
And we have special classes of donations for bottle amnesties.
Okay.
Cleaning out cupboards, undesired gifts, and the like. And this came from somebody's cupboard or somebody's father's cupboard where it had been ignored for close to 50 years, having had a few fingers poured off it and then re-screwed closed and put away.
That's part of what makes this bottle so exciting to me is because, this one is sealed but half empty. So it's, I assume, not really going to taste a lot like it tasted 50 years ago. Whereas this one, as you say, it had a little bit out of it, but we're assuming that it's been drunk.
Right.
This looks like a more reliable seal than my little
Oh, yes.
thing.
The metal screw caps are probably the best closure the spirits industry has ever had, and those who know anything really regret the wine merchants forcing us to use half a cork with a knob, which is a bad seal.
Oh, is that who we have to blame for that?
Yeah, it's the wine merchants that say wine cork is good. Well, it's good for them.
Right.
It's not good for our product.
No, this isn't even cork. It's just plastic. And
yeah.
As we've learned a lot on My Tiny Bottles, plastic, not good for keeping liquids inside them. Well, I would actually like to start. Usually we start with my tiny bottle and then we compare it to a new version or something like that. But I would actually like to start with yours. Couple reasons. One, I want to taste it maybe a little bit more like we think it might have tasted originally. And two, I just had some coffee and that's kind of all I can taste right now. You have more liquid for me to cleanse my palate off. Do you want to pour or do you want me to
go right ahead?
All right. This is the big bottle. We'll put it in the big glasses.
Good mnemonic.
You gotta have a way of remembering these things. All right. Slàinte.
Sláinte.
It's really light aroma.
Yes. Which was sort of was a style.
Yeah, I mean this is a blended Scotch, so it's going to be a mix of grain whiskey and some single malt, but I don't smell a lot of peat here. This is not a
this was not
heavy malt.
This would have been peated only when that was a necessity. It's better than I remembered it.
Well, that's good. I was going to say it's perfectly drinkable. And, I would absolutely, if somebody handed this to me at a party, I'd be much happier than when they hand me the Cal-Ila or the really peaty ones. I'm like, give me a minute. I got to get ready for that. This is really approachable. Excellent palate cleanser. Cut through the coffee right away. Little caramely notes.
Yeah, I would expect caramely. Probably a good bit of caramel color there.
Right? And that's what I'm wondering.
That's all you've got left there.
Here. Yeah. Do you have a sense for bottles like this that have evaporated? Is it the alcohol that evaporates off? First?
Alcohol preferentially.
Okay.
I mean, alcohol and water will evaporate together, but the alcohol will go off first.
So
More.
more alcohol than
So
water.
you're probably looking at 0 alcohol content in that bottle.
You think 0?
Quite possibly.
Wow. Okay, I tasted another half-empty bottle of tequila, and it really was very caramel forward. But I don't know that it didn't have any alcohol. But I guess you're right. Like if this is 40% alcohol by volume when it started, and we have about 60% of the liquid left.
So there might be 5% alcohol.
Interesting.
There's less alcohol in that than in kids' cough syrup.
Well, you can absolutely see why this leaked, because opening this was way too easy. It's a little kind of gross on the inside.
Yeah, that's a failed seal, all right.
Yeah, it didn't have any kind of a crack. It didn't, there was no, you are opening something that should be sealed.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. All right. It's got more body than concentrated caramel coloring. Very little nose.
Well, the aromatics will go off even quicker than the alcohol.
Right, all those volatiles really blow off. Yep. I've also found with the tiny bottles, maybe just because they've been closed so long, they just take a little while, right? And you need to give them some air. This one had plenty of air in its little bottle. Got nothing. Does it taste like anything?
Not really.
Oh yeah. So there's a little bite there. I can't say there's no alcohol here because you definitely get a bitiness.
But I've had stronger beer.
Okay, you think so?
I think that's below 20%.
Okay, but I get the bite, even more so in a way than I got the bite on the full bottle.
The alcohol from the big bottle will
have persisted.
Activated the tongue.
Yeah. Is that good or bad?
Well, if you're tasting something with interesting flavors second, that could be good.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting. It starts off just like, this is an old bottle of something. And then it disappears for a minute. And then I kind of get this hint of Scotch, sort of generic blended Scotch towards the end. And I don't know like what that flavor of generic blended Scotch is. But
McCormick butterscotch flavor.
Is it?
But the with little alcohol left, the legs on it are fantastic.
Yeah, of course, right? It's all sugar.
Yeah. Well, caramel.
Right. Yeah, you're right on the butterscotch.
E150.
Yeah. Butterscotch flavor is definitely kind of that lingering note. I'm really glad I got to taste this one. So in the bottle video for the tiny bottle, I talked about how this brand was really advertised as made for mixing, and that's the thing that kind of accelerated it and made it one of the most popular scotches in the world. It's like something like 90% of the market in Britain at the time, in the UK. So it was like just huge in the moment. And I was lamenting that I wouldn't have enough here to mix it with anything, but now I think I'm just gonna mix some of yours later, right? Because we get to drink more of this bottle if we want to.
Yes.
All right.
And in the stash in the other room, there's a sample bottle that says for Tammy's use.
Oh, very good. I get my own sample bottle. Well, thank you so much, Bill, for bringing this along and for sharing it with me. This is really
definitely
fun.
Try it with like the tonic water over there or something, because that's what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. I think they would have been mixing it with ginger ale back in the day. Where can people find you online? Is there a place?
Yeah, I'll give you the link to where I've put Uncle Mike's original tasting notes.
All right, and I will drop that into the show notes so you can find that. And meanwhile, if you want to find me or learn more about the Tiny Bottles, you can find that at mytinybottles.com. You can also, of course, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all your social medias. And if you're watching here on YouTube, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. Do you have an old bottle that matches one of my old bottles? Let me know. I would love to have some good comparisons. Cheers.